Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh.
And Patty XRP.
Today, we got some exciting news coming out of Ripple and the Digital Pound Foundation. So, Ripple submitted this document that Patty and I are going to run through today to the House of Lords in the UK Parliament regarding a central bank digital currency to the Bank of England. And then we also got some exciting news of a new Ripple partnership with Modulr. And this is just another expansion of their 500 plus partnerships that we know from Leonidas has told us from some documents he found of other Ripple partners, which really makes sense considering in 2019 swell, they only had 300. So it's great to see Ripple growing out their partnership at this scale while being in the middle of a major lawsuit with the SEC. So Patty, what is this submission by Ripple to the House of Lords?
Yeah, so I'll give credit to finding this document to Crypto Airy. She posted it on Twitter yesterday. And just for some context, so if you weren't aware, Ripple is part of the Digital Pound Foundation, where they're basically helping England, kind of analyze if they want to go with a CBDC in the future, what routes they can take. You can see there's some big partners here that are a part of this, like Accenture, Quant, Ripple, RTGS Global. I believe ETN is another project involved, and they'll be having this webinar on the 24th of February. So that'll be interesting to look out for in the future. But with this document, it's basically Ripple kind of submitting their thoughts about CBDCs in general and also giving some background on the company Ripple and what they do. So, with this, they touch on how RippleNet is like their enterprise software solution and that it's built on top of the open standard Interledger protocol. And so with this, they also have their on-demand liquidity capability, which leverages XRP, as well as the CBDC private ledger that they're working on, which will be part of the federated side chains that are going to be coming to the XRP ledger in the future. With the private ledgers, it doesn't mean that there's some separate price for XRP or anything like that. It's just another instance of the XRP ledger that can allow either in a permissioned or permissionless way other parties to kind of create their own side blockchains that can still tap into the power of the XRP ledger mainnet. So with this, they touch on a few key points, which is basically CBDCs offer benefits that fiat currency does not. However, they do state that they do think there is, there's room for both in the future, whether it be cash, fiat, and CBDCs as well. It can kind of help. CBDCs allow you to, program for certain use cases. So, you can imagine with the stimulus we had in the US in like 2020, it's like not everybody got it that maybe should get it, or people that really don't need it are getting it. And then also like, what are people using that money for? So it can kind of help in delivering stimulus to targeted areas of the economy. That's that kind of programmable money feature. Also can help with like, decarbonization and stuff if you're running on a, side chain of the XRPL that is efficient as it is. Additionally, they think it's extremely important to ensure privacy considerations for citizens of any given jurisdiction, and talking about implementing KYC, AML, and also protecting the customer data is going to be of utmost importance. Also, they believe that any legislative changes should be principles based and technology neutral, which I think makes a lot of sense. You're going to want a technology that can grow and work with future technologies that may add more enhancements in the future. And this last part, which I'll read in full. So they talk about a public-private approach is needed to ensure maximum utility of any CBDC issued. I tend to agree with them. I think we see more innovation and it happens more quickly in the private sector for sure. And so working, with the public institutions as well as the private ones to come up with the best, use case or use of it in the future is going to be important. So they add here, we believe that private sector solutions such as the use of neutral bridge assets like XRP, supported by software solutions like the CBDC private ledger, could have an important role to play in supporting healthy liquidity markets that allow for frictionless and cost-effective value movement between new forms of digital money in real time, enabling the exchange of less liquid digital money pairs and increasing competition by lowering barriers to entry to new and smaller market participants. An open platform approach that brings together expertise and investment from different stakeholders, including private sector firms, governments, and academia, provides the best opportunity to build value adding services without friction from intermediaries. So, Mickey, with this, I think that really speaks to the internet of value, the tokenization of tons of different types of assets, and being able to, seamlessly transfer value between things that are just, completely different, whether it be maybe a future in oil and then, settling for a derivative of gold. Those are normally things that you can't get in and out of or from one to the other very easily. So kind of, enabling that value flow in the future, I think will be really important in, as far as how they go about using CBDCs with that and just having, open platforms that people can build off and invest in.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what they're doing here with the UK government, the House of Lords. And remember, in 2017, Ripple did a pilot with the Bank of England using Interledger and using their proprietary solutions. Now, we didn't hear about XRP in there, but since built out RippleNet to be what we speculate being 500 plus different institutions. So they have proven that they have the enterprise payment messaging network here to compete with Swift. And just to go over one more time, Ripple is split into two sides. We have the RippleNet, right, which is the messaging proprietary ODL software. And then we have RippleX, which is building on the open source XRP ledger. And this is those private blockchains. Now, what's great about these side chains that I find fascinating compared to other solutions out there is it's just expanding the XRP ledger, but it's not taking away XRP. XRP will be able to freely move to all these side chains. So RippleNet ODL has continued to thrive. So we have 20 different corridors that are currently live now. So Ripple has to balance between driving adoption in this current legacy world and integrating XRP and digital assets and faster payments, while also simultaneously trying to be at the forefront of what a world of payments will be if there's CBDCs now. Now, there's different models, and I'm sure you've heard the competition that there is to potentially a neutral bridge asset like XRP. People say, oh, stablecoin could just go from stablecoin to stablecoin. Now, that recreates the whole system all over again. So what would you have? All these different liquidity pools from one corridor to another fiat, and you have thousands of them instead of just going through XRP. That's really the secret sauce there that XRP allows for that liquidity between each pair. Instead of creating a, say, liquidity pool for US dollar, euro, US dollar, Australian dollar, euro, Australian dollar. And that's really going to clutter down the system if they create CBDCs like that. And I have a feeling, and I've seen it in a few documents, Consensus, and what they're trying to do there with JP Morgan and the JP Morgan coin want to go in that approach. Just create a bunch of different liquidity pools and then have them all paired. But what does that do? That just ties up even more liquidity. Because, right, in liquidity pools with smart contracts, you still need liquidity in both assets. With XRP, you could go easily between different fiats through XRP. And if you look through Ripple's patents, they talk about this, and they're already building this platform out now with the exchanges and with different market makers and different banks who are banking these exchanges. But I don't see a world where they'll have an exchange in every corridor. We notice, why hasn't Ripple partnered with every single exchange? Because the exchanges are not going to be the only ones who are trusted. We're going to see more prime brokers, custodians, investment banks, financial institutions going forward that are going to be the fiat on and off ramps. And also banks, they're going to get into crypto. We know Fidelity just did a survey. I believe it was something like, no, it was American Banker. 40% of banks are going to be offering some type or plan to offer some type of crypto service to their customers. So Ripple is now trying to get, like Patty said here, into this tokenization world. And if you look through their insights in the last year, they talk a lot about giving the wallet to the actual customer, and then that customer could have users in that wallet and clients. And this goes back to what PolySign and Standard Custody are doing. They're building two private blockchains, right? One is for custody, one is for a settlement network. Now, that settlement network is happening simultaneously while Ripple's building out this whole ODL and CBDC network and private ledgers. So all this matrix of different components are coming together. And RippleNet is built on Interledger. So I think that is the core protocol here. And then the evolution of what Codius is now advanced. They're not going to tell you they're using Codius, but we saw from the 2016, I posted this on Twitter, that the banks are using the hosting solution and they took it down. It's on the Wayback Machine. Now they probably advanced that to a new proprietary solution because Ripple calls ODL, it's proprietary, but it uses XRP. So XRP has this one advantage over all the other cryptos. It's being positioned as that asset to bridge. Yes, people could say, okay, any crypto could bridge, but Ripple has the technology there, proprietary, built with the open source, and now these side chains are going to allow for that horizontal scaling. So we could have CBDC private ledger side chains. We could have a permissionless EVM side chain. We could have a special tokenization one, NFTs. So this is the expansion of the XRP ledger moving forward for XRP.
Yeah, and to add on to that, Nikki, as far as, XRP being positioned as this kind of bridge asset, one of the other things is with the XRP ledger mainnet, they have pathfinding and auto bridging, which have a lot of really solid, use cases for payments and trying to find the best route to conduct some kind of transfer, transaction, payment, things like that. So moving on from this, we want to touch on this company Modulr, which is a payments service provider in the UK and Europe. So they've announced a strategic partnership with Ripple to enable seamless payments into the UK and Europe. So with this, I want to touch on some of the comments from the parties that are involved in this. So Jonathan O'Connor, who's the Chief Commercial Officer of Trust Payments, which will be the first Modulr customer going live with the Ripple capabilities. They said Trust Payments continues its disruption in payments with the partnership between Modulr and Ripple, delivering a new payment option for settlements. We want to ensure we offer merchants alternatives to traditional methods with reduced fees and increasing the speed of funding to their accounts. Additionally, it says together, Ripple and Modulr look forward to delivering real-time, price-competitive, and reliable payments into the region from the Asia Pacific, North America, Latin America, and Middle East regions. Cindy Young, who's a managing director of RippleNet in Europe, said Ripple is thrilled to partner with Modulr, who has a deep knowledge and expertise of the payments landscape, as well as unrivaled connections to critical payment infrastructure in the UK. We'll touch on that in a minute. Together, we look forward to providing faster, simpler cross-border payments experience for customers on RippleNet into the UK and Europe. So one thing, Mickey, we know is that RippleNet's seen a ton of growth, especially in the Southeast Asia region. And now, they're expanding this to come into UK and Europe and connect with Latin America, South America, and also, Southeast Asia. And then moving on to Miles Stevenson, who's the CEO and founder of Modulr, said, we're excited to partner with Ripple. We share the same fundamental goal, which is to make it easy to send and control global business payment flows by removing the hidden inefficiencies plaguing international payments today. This partnership lays the groundwork for even bigger things to come at Modulr. We're looking forward to working with Ripple on delivering real-time, price competitive, and reliable payments into UK and Europe, and then globally in the coming months. They make an additional comment, which we found out from Brad Garlinghouse, that RippleNet is seeing a volume run rate of over $10 billion for 2021. We see their valuation has increased via the share buyback with Ripple. So it seems they're definitely making moves and expanding into more areas of the world. So to touch on some other things with Modulr, I know PayPal's kind of in the news today since the stock's down 20%. However, Modulr did receive an investment from PayPal Ventures back in November of 2020. Additionally, they have connections with basically the central bank of the UK, Ireland, and I believe the Netherlands, which they list on here. So, they have some of that critical infrastructure and connections within the UK and Europe for kind of settling payments and getting access to central bank services. Additionally, I want to touch on one of their partners, which is Revolut. And many of y'all may be familiar with Revolut as kind of like, a fintech banking kind of platform that also integrates cryptocurrencies. So one of the things about Revolut as one of their partners is that, it's on this one right here. So they have 15 million users in 2021. You can see this has grown exponentially since 2016. Additionally, their valuation in 2021 seems to be $5.5 billion. And their total transaction volume from 2019, which is the last one reported, is 65 billion pounds, rather. All of that shouldn't have been in dollars, it was pounds. So, with this, we can see Modulr has a lot of, partnerships. Trust Payments is going to be the first one to go live, tapped in with Visa, MasterCard, and some other payment networks. Additionally, Modulr is, tapped into like SEPA, CHAPS, MasterCard, Visa, as well as some other payment networks. So we're kind of just seeing RippleNet expand. I was watching a video earlier today from Bank XRP where it was one of the RippleNet directors out in Singapore, along with the Tranglo CEO. They were talking about really focusing on using ODL in that region and expanding that out to like the Middle East and Latin America and places like that as well. And we know that Ripple took a 40% stake in Tranglo as well. So you can just see they're making a lot of moves outside of the US while this case is going on, but the development is there.
Yeah, just imagine when this case is over, when they could tap into the US market, and as being the dollar, being the global reserve currency, not having that fiat on and off ramp and liquidity in the dollar hindering their operations. But at the same time, they're still expanding at a rapid pace in Southeast Asia, in Latin America, in the Middle East, in Asia with SBI, in Europe, and in the UK. So once you see this case end, I just want to touch on this a little here, Patty, about what do we expect in the future? Like, we see everyone who's watching sees all this great news. Well, why isn't this affecting XRP's price? Why isn't XRP going up? Well, let's think. They're in the middle of an SEC lawsuit. XRP is being claimed by the SEC. That's a digital security. This scared away all the US liquidity providers, market makers, and most of the exchanges, right? So that's holding back components of their operations on ODL. They can't fully ramp up, but they will once that is cleared up. And I think it's a pretty safe bet. It's not guaranteed, but I think it's very likely we get clarity for XRP in some way, shape, or form. I think we'll see a summary judgment and XRP will be deemed not a security, just as the oranges in the Howey test were not securities. Now, once that happens, I expect a massive marketing push by Ripple, by all the partners, by Coil, by SBI to really ramp this thing up. And it's going to go beyond just cross-border payments, right? ODL unlocks liquidity, but you can't just have a bridge asset that just is cross-border and that's it. It just bridges fiat. You need a lending market, borrowing market. You need liquidity. You need all these different things, credit, and those go into the financial market. That's the backbone of that asset. The asset needs a marketplace, trading, lending, borrowing. All these things are very important going forward. Now, Ripple's escrow could play a huge role here in incentivizing that liquidity and also for covering the slippage of those ODL payments. Then we could get into corporate finance here, trade finance, supply chain, and tokenization, NFTs they've talked about. So getting the wallets in those hands of those customers is very important. And that's what they talked about in ODL 2.0, right? You're not going to have to pre-fund. And that works with the Ripple Lend product. So all these things coming together, then knowing PolySign and Standard Custody are building a settlement network and a custody blockchain, both on the blockchain with digital bank. And then, all the things that SBI is doing, all the information that Crypto Eddie's put out on SBI, knowing how massive that is, and the growth here in Southeast Asia with Tranglo, it's coming. Just be patient. But when it happens, it's going to come like a tidal wave. And it's likely to come after this lawsuit. Now, if this lawsuit wasn't here, I'm sure they would be even out front more. But quickly, Patty, I just want to touch on one other topic here. And we did a video on this, but I just want to go over it one more time. Since Ripple has $1 billion in the bank, typically private companies, startups, fintechs IPO to raise funds because they need capital. Now with Ripple having $1 billion, you IPO to raise funds. So what are they going to need those additional tens of billions that they raise in an IPO for? Because they don't need it to keep the lights on. They don't need it to expand offices. They have a war chest of cash and a war chest of XRP right now. That would just give them a bigger war chest of fiat and selling their equity. So what are some things you could see Ripple actually doing with that IPO capital raise in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one thing is they have a lot of early investors, and being able to IPO into the US markets is a huge return on investment for those individuals, as well as all the people, the management that's been working for the company for a while, as far as stock options and things like that. But on top of it, I imagine they would be raising funds so they can go and, facilitate, incentivize this whole internet of value that they're creating. They can further, help develop or help fund development on the XRP ledger with things like tokenization, DeFi, NFTs, all that great stuff. Also go out and possibly purchase more like, institutions that are currently like in the landscape out there already. So I think there's going to be several reasons. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do, but I imagine they will be probably acquiring some businesses, if they're able to IPO in the future after this SEC case kind of wraps up. We see they have so many different components going into all this, whether it be wallets or, the PolySign standard custody with the Cowen Bank partnership, their focus on tokenization. A lot of their higher ups are talking about, crypto first approach. Like Ripple X is seeing huge development. They're hiring tons of people. So I think they're ramping up for, a lot of volume coming in and a lot of business in the future.
Yeah, great point there with the crypto first. They've definitely changed the narrative from 2 years ago, what we were hearing, laser focused on cross-border payments. And now we're crypto first, right? The crypto market last year went into this major bull run. It's now more mainstream, more institutions are getting into it. But let's think of a world when XRP is cleared and it's the only asset that by law is not a security. Now, any of those hedge funds, any of those wealth management, pension funds are going to feel the most comfortable holding that asset. But unlike Bitcoin, which is just a store of value, and even Ethereum to an extent, you could use XRP for your treasury. You could offer different products to your customers for that. And I think banks, financial institutions, and different family offices even, and endowments are potentially lined up to get into XRP because it has the store value use case, but then it also has this ability with the ledger, because the value is in the protocol, right? So the ledger is going to expand out with all these side chains. So basically any private side chain can do anything Hyperledger or Besu does or Corda does. It's going to have that same capability right there adjacent to the XRP ledger, and it will be able to tap in freely. So I think we have an exciting 2022 coming once this case is over, because you're going to have all these developments on the XRP ledger, right? Let's just go over the things that are coming. We know Hooks is an amendment coming. We know the NFT XLDS20, that's coming. Then we have the automated market maker that they want to implement. And we have the federated sidechains, which are now being implemented as we speak. So these are major developments to the open source technology that's going to take place at the same time while Ripple has positioned XRP. Coil has positioned XRP. PolySign has positioned XRP. SBI has positioned XRP. And then have 500 plus customers. Also, they're using it for payments. They have a wallet now. It opens up all these other possibilities. And we could see a lot of applications built on these sidechains. Because what do we need? As many use cases as possible for XRP and as many diverse users for XRP for its value to rise. It's not just about banks using XRP. It's about spreading it out and distributing the types of users and the types of use cases and creating more storage demand for XRP. Right now, we don't have staking. There's no, besides CeFi, if you put your assets on BitTrue and you earn 25% for a month APY, they're not staking your assets. They're loaning those right out to the market. So that's not really locking up XRP. Now, creating that storage demand with the utility of liquidity, I think will really be a price driver in the future. And the more use cases creates more storage demand because you need to hold the asset to offer some of those solutions in the institutional side. And then you got the DeFi marketplace. Why has Ethereum blown up to be a couple $100 billion asset? Because it's used massively in DeFi. It's got a whole ecosystem thriving. Now that's what's coming to the XRP ledger, plus the institutional side and RippleNet and the ODL. So you combine all those two together, and I think we could see some explosive things coming for XRP in the near future. It's not financial advice. Everything in this video is just for educational purposes only. Patty, any last closing thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing we really didn't touch on, and highly suggest people checking out some of Darren Moore's videos on this, is the partnership with the Republic of Palau in Southeast Asia, where they are going to be working on issuing a government-backed stablecoin on the XRP ledger that's pegged to the US dollar. So it'd have like US dollar cash and cash equivalents backing that. From what Darren's kind of picked up in his videos, they had to get some kind of approval to be doing this from the U.S. government, which begs the question, like, what is actually going on with the case? But I won't dive into that so much. But I could see that as something, like a pilot testing phase that the U.S. government will watch closely and see how that works with the XRP ledger and some other government issuing that. So I think that'll be really interesting to see how that plays out in 2022 as well, on top of, seeing what comes out of the Digital Pound Foundation. So that's about all I have. I don't know if you got anything else, Mickey.
No, that was a great point with Powell. So yeah, Darren's done some great videos and Crypto Eddie on this. So great content being put out there. So definitely check out their videos. But with this Powell CBDC part, so basically, if they're going to issue a US dollar CBDC, right, for their country, that's a perfect pilot testing ground for a US dollar, right? I mean, it's the same currency, so you could see it on this private side chain, and you could see how it's going to operate. So the Fed, it's perfect to do pilots on and test alongside what they're doing with Plow. So I think it's just important that they created this, and it shows, okay, here, we have the ability to do a digital dollar. Here, we don't have to create this, pilot that's like theoretical and it's not really anything and it might work. No, we have a real world solution here. We issued this dollar on a real ledger. It's really there. It's not some private thing locked up, out of nowhere. This is actually public, and it could be seen if it's issued on the main ledger, and it would be private if it's issued on the side chain. So I think that's just important. I think you're right. They had to get some kind of approval here, Patty, for them to do that with that country, since there's such a close relationship with the U.S. So it makes you think. Once this is over, I really expect a lot more information to come out. But at the same time, I still think a lot of stuff will stay private and proprietary on what they're doing.
Absolutely. So with that, I think it's a good point to wrap up. This is the DeFi Standard. I'm Patty XRP.
And I'm Mickey B. Fresh.
And we're out. See y'all.